with Eddie Grant there in the background. We are welcoming you once again to another program of the ACDA Hour. Today, my guest is none other than Sister Bernice Trotz. Sister Bernice, who hails from Pleasance, like Eddie Grant, is the daughter of a farming family. Sister Bernice, a graduate of the Guyana School of Agriculture and Tuskegee Institute in the US, has a wide range of experience in agriculture and business, not only in Guyana, but within the Caribbean. Today, she will be discussing with us wealth formation. And this is from the point of view, from the standpoint of agriculture. Being the person who has such a wide range of experience in agriculture, I doubt whether we could have found anyone better at the moment to make this presentation. With that, I hand you over to Sister Bernice Trotz.
Thank you, Brother Elton. You flatter me so much. But at the risk of boring our listeners, I'll repeat a little bit of what you've said. So let me greet your listeners, your audience. Good afternoon, sisters. Good afternoon, Elton. Welcome to everyone else who is on this platform. My name, as my brother has just said, is Bernice Trotz, and I'm an old girl who has some 45 years of agricultural engagement to my credit. I attended the Guyana School of Agriculture and then Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, USA. I have a daughter, and I'm married to Raymond Trotz. We have a 10-acre coconut and herb farm at Hororuni on the Soosdijk-Linden Highway. I think that it is reasonable to assume that everyone on this set is immersed in the practice of agriculture, making it easier for me to zoom in
Mr.
on
Bernice,
today.
just here to remind a few who are with us live, there were 2 people on the live so far, so share the link. Share this link. Just continue, my dear sister.
Okay, right. So those of you who are on this platform, I'm assuming you are immersed in agriculture. So my business, the business that we have at hand today, is that of thinking actively as to how to grow $100,000, maybe to $200,000, and maintaining that upward trajectory. Now, my humble recommendation would be to get in touch with your real financial requirement. And this is important because we don't want to do the backyard thing when we need big farm money. We want to use our time and our talent equitably, properly, suitably to match and surpass our need or our requirement. So for example, for a family of about, a family with a mortgage and a car and maybe 2 high school kids, and if the person is older, if you're older, you may have a serious medical circumstance. So you might find that your real monthly spending, the actual spending, is somewhere in the vicinity of about $600,000 to $800,000. That's your real monthly requirement. However, you're making $200,000 to $300,000 a month. So the deficit is a real headache. Now, we're targeting $600,000 to $800,000 a month. And to that, we want to add a $50,000 as savings. Now, I'm assuming that my audience is farming full-time, or you intend to farm full-time, or you intend to start farming on a substantial piece of land. Because That's the whole purpose of the exercise, of understanding what your real financial requirement is. It will move you out of the backyard. It will cause you to start talking with other people in order to cooperate, in order to get together, in order to put our 100,000 together and make 1 million or 2 million, in which case we are now empowered to do what we did, to lay the foundation for earning that $850,000, which is what it will come out to be. So the $850,000 is our bullseye, our monthly bullseye. That's where we're heading. And I am recommending that we sit back, relax, and accommodate the thought of starting to farm on at least 1 hectare or 2.4 acres. 2.4 acres of land. That's a small piece of land. But it will have big dividends if we choose the crops that we will engage in planting carefully. Now, you have a whole series of options. You have salad crops. You have herbs and spices. You have fruit crops. And you have vegetables. You see? So you make your choice from any of those. Of course, you have grains and pulses. And you have root crops. You have other food crops like plantain and cassava and so on. But since we want to grow this 100,000, I am thinking that you want to do that in the shortest possible time. So let me humbly recommend 2 crops with which we can do this spin-over. And that would be the sweet potato, which will feed into a larger program, and you can ask me about that larger program. Will feed into a larger program, particularly if it's seated or centered in African communities where we have ancestral lands, where we have good clay, where historically we have we have planted and harvested bountiful harvests of root crops. So the sweet potato is a primary crop from the African community, and the other one, the other one I'd like to recommend would be the red peas for its keeping quality, for the fact that it does have times when it has times of gluts and times of scarcity, but you can hold on to this piece for a while until the market favors your requirement. Now, let's settle down and get into the business of planting either of these 2 crops. The requirement here would be for plowing and chipping of clay soils. And if you're on sandy soils, clearing and ridging those the sandy soils. In addition to plowing and ridging sandy soils, we're going to have to add about 200 bags or so to 1 hectare, 200 bags of chicken manure, along with about 100 bags of biochar, or coal dust, or black paddy ash in a 2-to-1 mix. Now, that black paddy ash is going to change the tilth. It has this tendency of plugging the soil, which is something you want. It pulls the sand together. You want that, and it makes it a little less pervious. So you get some water holding retention there. So you need that black paddy ash, and you need the chicken manure. I'm recommending chicken manure because when you use cow dung, you will find that you have a whole lot more work to do with grass control, because the grass seeds are not digested by bovine stomachs. So they pass out whole, and they are in this rich mix in the dung itself. And so they take over your farm. I'm talking antelope grass. You don't want to mess with that. So I'm recommending from Jump Street I am recommending the chicken manure. So having prepared your land, having fortified your land with nutrients, you're probably going to now look at buying your seeds. And we're talking about red peas. So you buy the seeds, you secure your inoculum. The best place to go is Nari. Go there. They have to give you some information on or like give you the guide as to when to plant. When to plant is very, very important. It's equally important as how to plant. This when to plant, so that you get the crop maturing at a time when the weather is sunny and hot, and you don't run the risk of showers of rain, which would spoil the crop, spoil the pods. So they will give you that information. Work with the inoculum, ask for inoculum, inoculate your seeds for higher returns. $2, pay them to do the research. The research will give the results, a particular set of results, when certain elements are added to this whole business of growing the crop. When they are done with that, they do the testing and they do the verification and so on. They have with them, what they're giving us is something that's tested and tried and which we can follow for the success of our endeavors. Follow the instructions to the letter. By the time we get to this point of clearing the land, plowing the land, fortifying the land with nutrients, getting the planting material, we're probably up to $500,000. We would have spent that much. This is what we are projected to spend, but we only have $100,000. So let's talk swift turnovers. We have to multiply this $100,000 to get to this $500,000, to get to the point of getting our farms operable with these two crops, with either of these two crops. So we choose one, and I chose the red peas so that you can nutrify the soil, increase the nutrition of the soil, and then rotate with sweet potato. And you're working those two crops year round. You're working them year round, and this is how you are going to field your $850,000 per month, because when one is in, you're working it maximally. You're doing the whole 2.5 acres, so that you can achieve your target. You will do some other things on the edges all around your 2.5 acres. You can put in pigeon peas, or you can put in permanent crops, which in time will augment your economy. We are not in the habit of planting good varieties of mangoes and avocados and soursop and guava and so on. We should consider those to go around our, as if you're fencing, it 2.5 acres, fence it with fruits. And after a while, every season you have a harvest, you have something for the market, and you have it in sufficient quantities to make an impact on your economy. So you put out a feeler. We're going to do a swift turnover now. We're going to trade. We're going to do trading to increase this $100,000 that we're starting with, in order to get to our target of $500,000, which is what we need to get our farm off the ground. So we're looking at coming together, cooperating with about 9 other people. So we got $1 million, $100,000. We're cooperating. So here is what we do. You have to understand your own ability to market at least 1 or 2 bags of peas per day or per week or whatever it is. You've got to be able to organize to either buy in bulk and package this thing and market it packaged or market it in bags. Whichever way you go, you have to get together and discuss that strategy, refine that strategy. You have to secure access to adequate storage. You must store peas. If you're buying up peas and you're buying up 30, 40 bags of peas, you have to have adequate storage. The moisture content of the area has to be tested and known. Rodents, all sorts of pests and so on have to be eradicated. You must understand that any slippage will cause you to lose your investment. So you have to be overly sensitive about adequacy of storage. Access, you have to have access to the market. You have to understand the market demand or the market hunger for this red peas. You're buying this red peas. You're putting your 100,000 with 9 other people and you're buying up all the available red peas. And you're storing it in an adequate storage place so that if at the time when you buy a lot of peas is on the market, then hold it for a week. In about a week or two, the peas will disappear off the market. And you become peas central. You centralize the storage of the peas. You centralize the marketing of the peas. So as far as is possible, try to get the peas in a place that's it's not necessarily distant from market, but it's not some here and some there and some everywhere. If you can centralize it, the storage, then the group will have access. The group will work together. The group will decide if they will package this thing together. The group will decide if they will sell it, let's say to GMC, and GMC will get it into the interior and get it to other counties in the country. So you've got to be talking to each other and then make that move. I want to call it a Chinese move. And the move is to buy off all of the peas, hold the peas, and sell the peas at the right time when the price is right. Now, let me digress a little bit. Last Christmas, now what I'm saying to you, I have not verified. Someone who was promoting a party told me that this was his experience. Last Christmas, what happened? All of Bank's DIH beverages were bought off over a specified block of time, a critical, crucial block of time. All of the beverages were bought off. And so when he and the others went to Bank's DIH to get their normal stock, they were told that Bank's DIH, we don't have stock. So they further were told you got to go to the Chinese to get stocks. And they went to the Chinese and found that the Chinese had a lot of stock at a different price, but they were forced to buy it because their event was happening now, and the Chinese were the only people who had the stock now. I'm showing you that the Chinese were able to see that opportunity, see that commodity, and identify a strategy that would make millions of dollars in a specified block of time. We can do that with the peas. We can do that with any other commodity. I'm not saying buy it off. I'm not saying do it in that way. But it is a strategy that we can examine for control, for for achieving your goals, your financial goals in a particular fashion. You don't want to create an artificial shortage. You don't have to, but you can control a massive amount of stock because that is what cooperatives do. That is what people do when they cooperate. You have more leverage over more supplies. You are bigger than one man, and therefore you can have a bigger impact on the market when you cooperate.
You
So
know,
rather
Sister
than
Bernice, not
doing it alone,
wanting to cut you, but a similar situation has happened this year with the Bank CIH products over the past month and a half or so.
again,
Many times, the shops in BV, for instance, would tell me, two shop owners I know in BV, they told me banks, they don't have banks products. They don't have banks products. Why? The Chinese buy it out.
they're continuing, which means they're making money.
Yeah.
And why
So
stop
they
if you
have
can?
bought that out to transfer to the Christmas season
Exactly.
when they will make their money.
Hmm.
So
So
it's not an isolated incident of last year.
okay. So it's continuing, which means that it's no, and it's worth continuing. It's worth promoting. It's probably a good cash cow. And look at the thing. The commodity is not perishable. You can hold it over and hold for price. You can create artificial shortages and make millions of dollars in that space of time. So it's something that I thought that I should well kind of share because we can do that with red peas. We can do that with sweet potatoes. We can do that with limes. You know, you can look at a number of things. And talking about that, but let me finish. That was a digression. So let me get back to the main point of of doing trading together to achieve to realize the money that we need to make the investment in farming at an operational scale that is economical. That's what this 100,000 can do for us. You spin it around a number of times, and as my brother just said, the Chinese have not stopped. They have found that it's a good pipe to turn on and get money flowing. So why would they stop if that is working? I asked a new shopkeeper what product is the fastest selling in her shop. She's just opened, and she said she was amazed at all the information of diabetes out there and the fact that this fastest selling product is soft drinks. All of the sweet drinks are being sold before rice, flour, sugar. She said it's the fastest moving item in her shop. And when you talk to other people, they're telling you that it's so hot that it's the preferred drink. It's cheap, it's available, it's cold. I don't know what else it is, but it moves off the shelves very, very quickly. So I recommend that you trade until you make enough money to set up your own farm, have a surplus to hire labor while your own farm is maturing, while the crop is maturing, and have enough money to tide you over while the crop is getting, while it's drying off, while it's getting to maturity. So you will also find that you need some cash for harvesting and for buying packaging material. If you're gonna package your peas, if you're gonna label your peas, you will definitely need money for transporting it from field to storage and from storage to market. The group should sit down and talk about that. So one of the reasons why I presented to you peas or sweet potato on 1 hectare of land is because we have to become unafraid of increasing the scale of our operations in order to meet the real level of our spending. When spending is way ahead, I mean, ahead of earnings, we find that we are borrowing and we are in deficit. We are slowing down when it comes to real development. We owe everybody, and we don't know what to do to sort ourselves out. When we do the self-examination, we find that we are reluctant to go out into the field. We are reluctant to undertake larger tasks, which is what is required to meet larger demands, bigger demands, and so on. So some of the things that I have been told is, no, I don't want to do agriculture on no 1 hectare scale because I do not have land. So let's talk a little bit about land. If you do not have land and you care about your economy and you care about your standard of living, you care about your health, you care about the quality of your life, then hear me. Land is not sold in Guyana to Guyanese. And I'm talking about agricultural land on the highway. I am told that there's also land available in Wakenham. The land is certainly available in Pomeroon. You don't have to go that far. Every African village has ancestral lands. And it's time we started to talk with each other about either renting 200 or 300 acres and planting it under sweet potato, planting it under red peas, getting a factory to process sweet potato into flour and selling sweet potato flour to the flour factory for incorporation into our daily flour for bread. It has sweet potato and cassava have a very big future. They feed into a larger program in which we become flour people, you know? And so when you talk about not having land, I say to you, go to lands and surveys. Don't let them give you less than 20 or 30 acres because they tend to give us 2 acres. And they tend to give other people 200 acres. And some people have been given 1 acre of land and are happy with it. I say to you, that is when the vision is unfinished. You have to have a complete vision of what land can do for you when it comes to building wealth. When it comes to building wealth, you can have 200, 300, 800 acres. We know of people who have asked us to help them understand what to do with their 2,000 acres of land on the highway. 2,000 acres, and they don't know what to do with it. But hear what? They woke up one morning and decided that the value of the land is in the vicinity of millions of dollars. Therefore, they will take that lease to the bank and buy 2 sand trucks. That's what they're doing with their land. Those who have ears to hear, let them hear. Others have gone to the bank and taken money and built houses, these apartment blocks and fancy villas and what have you. They have invested their land in real estate. So they have apartment buildings, they have garages, they have multiple houses which they are renting, and they have sand trucks, and so on. Where did they get the equity from? The land. Now, my brothers and sisters see land as having only an agricultural connotation, but that's not so. The people of whom I speak have only done a fraction of agriculture on the land. The rest is left like that, and the land just accrues value year after year, and they're able to use that equity in borrowing. So it is time that our brothers and sisters woke up to the fact that they need to get land, and they don't need 10 acres. We took 10 acres because of our age. We are in our 70s, my husband and I. So you who are younger need to, and you see, this is the thing. If you are a co-op, if there are 10 of you in the group, and each of you what else is going to be happening along the highway? But the highway is not going to remain like sand and bush for very much longer. So if you have, for instance, where we have over 10 acres of land, government has just announced that it will be putting down a young professionals housing scheme in that area. Automatically, our 10 acres will accrue in value. It's at this point, it's a couple of $1 million. It has a well, it has a farmhouse. We bought the coconut water, so we have planted over 10 acres on the coconuts. We are trying to rehabilitate the farm because the rhinoceros beetle has devastated the plantation. So we are replanting. But even at the present stage it is in, it's about $30 million worth. So when you go for, and I'm telling you that so you get an understanding of the wealth that will impact your life when you have land. So go for the land. Consider trading to build the money you need to develop the land, because the more you engage on the land, the more you do with the land, the more value will accrue to the land, and the more equity you can take to the bank. Therefore, in all you're getting, get land, hundreds of acres of it, thousands of acres of it. Get land in all thy getting. It will redound to you. It will redound to your sons and your daughters. So they're not starting life flat-footed and empty. They are starting land with acres. They're starting life with acres of land that say, I am worth $50 million. It is like that. And I'm not just pulling a figure out of a hat. I am telling you that land on the highway is accruing in value rapidly. It is not an interior piece of land. It is fast becoming the suburbs of a town which is in progress. Silicon City. Those who have ears to hear me, hear me. This is all I can say on this platform. So there are some people who are going to further say, so go to lands and surveys and get land. Don't go alone. Go with your brothers, sisters, sons, and daughters. Take lands that are contiguous, they're near to each other, they're jamming each other. So when you go to clear land and you go to plant land, all of these one generation. I hope you're getting that. So you do not have a land issue. You do not have a land issue. Go and get the land. It's available to you. It is your patrimony. You are required to wake up and go and take the land. The next thing you might say to me is, I do not need the stress of managing all that land. And I have just said to you, well, don't manage it, own it. Now, the other thing is, you might say, I do not have transportation. Then get together and hire a canter, hire a bus, hire what you need together until you have done enough trading to acquire enough money to pay down on a vehicle or to buy a vehicle outright. So where do I get the plowing equipment? We can help you with that. You call Brother Elton and you call me, and we are going to guide you as to where you can hire plowing equipment from. Next, you might say, I was thinking of working around my yard. And I say to you, if you're looking at $850,000 a month, you are so wrong. You are so not ready to engage in your own development and so ready to be comfortable that you will give up financial independence for comfort. If that is your choice, I say to you, remember the generation after you. Because how we behave today will send a signal to generations behind us to come to say this is how our family behaves. We don't deal with this and we don't deal with that and so on. So you set the trend for the generations to come, and you want to set a righteous, a strong, and engaging, a land-centered message to generations to come, because I don't know how we became so disconnected from the land that we're talking about our nails and our hair and our shoes and our comfort and the heat and our blackness, and I ain't able for the sun scotch, man. You know, I say get black. It's a good thing to get. No, here family, I can't work with other people. I can't work with people I don't know. So I'm stressing, get together with other people in your village, get together with other people in your household, get together with cousins, get together with friends you can trust. And you're saying to me, I can't work with people because I can't trust them. I might know them, I can't trust them. Here's my question to you. When these Chinese got together and bought out all of Banks their 8 stocks, and they continue to do that, you think they have not gotten to know each other? But when they made that first move, do you think they knew each other? All they saw was an opportunity, and they saw that they needed everybody, every Chinese in Guyana, to buy in to what they saw. They did the calculation and they saw the money. When they saw the money, it cut across all their differences because they have one thing in mind: make money. Therefore, they cooperated. Therefore, they made money. Therefore, we felt the shortage, and we gave them our money in order to get the beverage that they bought to make money. So it's time we started looking at the little finicky things that we are cultivating and cultivate real hardcore values. So I have not spoken to people who might be my age and really want to engage, but don't know how. There's one thing I can give to you, and there's one thing I can give to everybody else on the platform. Look at what is happening in Guyana in terms of the building of homes, the acquisition of homes, and the fact that every homeowner is proud to be a homeowner, and they express that pride of ownership by the way they present their yards. They present the front of the yard or present the back of the yard. They want it to really look pretty. They want to say, thank you, Lord. And They want to say to the community, I'm an asset to this community. If you have that information and you're getting it now, then you have got to ask yourself, how could I buy in there? What is there to be bought? What is there to be bought into? And I say, let's talk flower plants, ornamentals. Let's talk ornamentals. Now, there's one thing about selling ornamentals that we don't quite get. Except you have a plant shop, then don't accept you have a plant shop. Do not sell a flower plant or an ornamental foliage plant as a single plant because there are too many people doing that. Try to make an ornamental arrangement, a floral arrangement, some sort of arrangement in a pot that you yourself designed and you had somebody build that pot. We've got a whole lot of pot makers. All you need to do is get yourself a mold. You design the mold. Brother Elton can deal with molds and present a nice floral arrangement, foliage arrangement in that pot. So that one pot will represent a garden of flowers. It's a central piece. And if you can sell one of those for about $10,000, which you know is being undersold, it might head into $20,000 to $30,000. And you can sell like 10 of those a week. That's your money. About $100,000 a week in florals, because every single homeowner is looking for a palm with a dracaena or a crown of thorns or one of those special things that you put together and present as a landscaped pot. That's for the people who want to do ornamental. Then there are the people who want to do maybe herbs. Understand that we no longer have Guyanese in our midst. There are people who are looking for the herbs to which they are accustomed but can't find it. Find out is what they're looking for. Go online and buy the seeds. Those people are also from a tropical world. It means that whatever the herbs they're looking for that they can't find, they will grow here because you will grow them. And you will price your herbs at a price that they can afford and that can keep your economy buoyed up and is not celery and shallot. They're looking for different things. Find out what they're looking for. Bandana and cilantro and those different things. They're looking for them. And you don't know that. So I'm telling you, go out there and find out what the Cubans are looking for, the Brazilians are looking for. I see Colombians are here as well. The Venezuelans are looking for. There are Africans here. They are looking for their own seasonings, their own spices, and their own herbs. Find out, get that together. We can talk again about a generic soil mix to grow herbs and spices. We can handle anything. We as a people can do this. So you've got the herbs and spices, when it comes to cash crops, everybody's into lettuce and some people have hydroponic units. If you're not ready for hydroponic hydroponic farming, then work the soil and work your lettuce on the shade. Make sure you put up your apparatus for watering so that your plants are moist and they have every opportunity to be big and fluffy and well fortified. lettuce is sold, I don't know, a big head is $300. A bed of lettuce will probably give you something like 240 roots, and you will have to sell those 240 roots at one pulling, or pull it every other day and sell off. Do your calculations and see how many such beds you need to have to satisfy your need. How many such beds you can handle before the lettuce goes bitter. You don't want to sell bitter lettuce. Parsley is another a spice, another herb that is in short supply. Consider doing that also. All of them need shade. All of them will do well with a good mixture, good balanced soil mix that you yourself can create. And they grow quickly when you know what they want and you put it in that mix and you sheet off your bed with it. It's like home to glory. So you can invest your 100,000 in a single cash crop that you can manage, that you know you can sell within a given period, not even within a given period, all year long, but sell off before it goes hard. And you have them lined up in series. So when this one is finished, that one, in a week's time, this other one will be ready. In a week's time, the other one will be ready. So you're sowing seeds every week. The thing that you have to do is get the information as to what the market is looking for, who is buying, what is their purchasing power like, and go for it. People spend money on food first. Food first. Something like even papayas. If you know how to market papayas, you can invest in 100 papaya trees and move papayas in the market on a daily basis. Brother Elton, let me invite you to come in and interact with me.
Okay, thank you very much, Sister Bernice. I see you've touched quite a lot on a wide range of areas. I note particularly you touched on biochar. I don't know how many of our viewers understands what is biochar. Maybe you can educate us on biochar.
All right. So let me, what I'll do is touch, because I find that when people have too much information, they back away.
Mm-hmm.
Biochar is that charcoal material that emanates out of a controlled burning environment. And the reason I use biochar synonymous with charcoal is because I found out that on the highway where I farm, most of the farmers, most of the charcoal burners are burning charcoal in kilns. So you're getting that controlled burning in kilns that will give you a material that has the porosity of biochar and that works as an excellent, I don't know, should I say substitute, Brad, or should I say?
No, I think biochar is charcoal. It's charcoal. Just as you said, in a controlled burn.
Control the burning.
Right? A burn where oxygen is not too present. So you don't want to burn it to ashes. But also you want the temperatures at which it's burned is important, right?
Okay.
Because it creates the environment within which what you call it, these nitrogen fixing bacteria will live. And it goes into heavy chemistry, but I think for now we can just leave it at charcoal.
Exactly.
To make it, as you said, simplified.
Yes. Yes.
So
but you see
is a new frontier in agriculture. what I would say, though, if you really look at it, history will tell you that our foreparents used charcoal, biochar in antiquity, right? Because there are locations in South America and Africa where they are found biochar. In fact, it was first believed that it is something that grows in no, because in Brazil they were farming it. They were going to these areas where you had the locations of biochar, and they were digging it and selling it for plants. And the people somehow or the other felt it was something that was grown there, but scientists have found out no, these are biochar fields that the older folks used to produce biochar, and they generated, and it was used for planting. They didn't use fertilizers. The fertilizer needs is much, 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 much reduced if you use biochar.
Wow.
You know.
But
So
thank you for that input.
and I am happy you mentioned the services that can be acquired from NARI, because many of us feel that the professional agriculturist does not know agriculture enough to teach us as farmers. You know, so
Wow.
I'm happy you've stressed on that, because they can tell you not only when to plant, but how to plant, what to do to preserve your plants. No, I mean, a lot of us are using pesticides and weedicides in a willy-nilly fashion. NARI is the place we need to go, or not necessarily NARI, some agricultural agency that is specialized in pesticides and so on. I think they can tell us the proper use, because we know many of our produce leave the shores and are rejected in foreign lands because of overdose of pesticides.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So we need to go. You made the kind of things we're talking about when you talk of biochar and cow mole and chicken litter. We are you're more discussing what is referred to as organic or agriculture, organic production,
Yes.
which carries a premium on the international
Price. Yes.
marketplace and
Yes.
locally in some
And
instances.
keeping quality is promoted.
Yeah. It,
Yes.
no, we're talking about storage ability, shelf life
Mm-hmm.
of organic products are much, much more than
Yes.
that of fertilized crops.
Amen. But
Uh,
if you stick a pin, bros, stick a pin. As you mentioned, Nari, I want to advise our brothers and sisters who are listening that they must apprise themselves of what Nari has for the farming community.
yeah,
As we speak, they have free seeds.
okay.
And when the seeds are not free, they're just $100 a pack.
The cost is much lesser than on the commercial seeds, the cost that you
Precisely,
pay
but our
at the
people
stores.
lack the information,
Yeah.
so they don't go. Not
But
only do they have that, but they have like for preparation equipment, they have hand tillers
yeah,
and they have spray cans. They're giving away materials for shade houses.
excellent.
Once they are satisfied that you're a bona fide farmer, you can have materials. I got plastic and shade cloth and materials, wood for extending my shade house from Nari. So I'm
Wonderful.
saying we would like to state on this forum that our farmers must apprise themselves of those things which now, in addition to technical information, there are supplies which are also available to farmers,
I'm
and we
happy you
should.
have mentioned those things, because we need to utilize the services that are available, that government will provide for the farming community, because they're there.
I remember visiting one of these offices on behalf of the church, and I was told that enough of us do not know that the Ministry of Human Services has billions of dollars to help women in particular. So, and it's not just about social services and so on. So if we can put together a group, a small group of women, and they can go forward and have a talk with human services to see if they can fund a couple hectares of land for us to plant red peas and sweet potato. You
I
know?
think in our villages, we should be able to do that. No, it is things which our village leaders are supposed to be able to apprise the villages about, but many a time the village leaders are
You have the info.
not aware. I do hope that some of our village leaders will see this broadcast at some time, because it will be on Facebook, it will be on YouTube, and they can take the cue to go forward and help their community.
Yes, that would be good. You see, our people die, perish for the lack of knowledge.
For the lack of knowledge.
Yes, and so we'd be happy. I'm happy to be able to feed this information into this forum here, so that they can say it to somebody. Go to NARI. They can say to somebody, let's go together to human services, because regardless of which government is in power, those resources belong to the people of Guyana, and we rob ourselves when we don't know that we can go and require them to give the resources.
You see, in my village, for instance, there were some visits recently by some governmental office ministers and offices. And I'm hearing, I've not been able to verify 100%, that the person appointed at this level, at the village local level, to organize those people, he's actually going about telling the people that how they need to join his party, which is the PPPC, in order to get the benefits. I mean, we are not here to discuss the political thing, but as you said, it is there for everybody.
Oh, yes, we can. We will stamp our feet down on our principles and our policies. We will not be bought. And we will know what our rights are. And we will require them to deliver on our rights. We can talk about it. We need the knowledge. We need the numbers. We, as a group, we are stronger than individuals. We need to understand what
I do hope some of the people from BV who may have heard this story, or who may have been told by this fella that is what they need to do, will listen to this here, and they take action, go themselves directly to the Ministry of Social Services.
That's right, go to the institution. Hallelujah. But you can't take things from people with hidden agendas. Oh, no. Yeah. You can't trust people.
An area of interest, though, Sister Bernice, you mentioned, you were talking of the possibility of moving peas and storage. Storage is so critical. Can you expand on our ability or the need for having proper storage facilities, especially when you're dealing with agricultural crops, peas or whatever?
Yes, you know, that will feed into our need for food security storage. Yeah. It will feed into our need for emergency stocks.
Yes.
It will feed into what we have as a community versus what we need. So we have red peas, but we have a few bags. So we're talking about capacity. I have a bag, you have a bag, but we have the rest out in the field. And that is left to the vagaries of the weather. Whereas if we have central storage, properly regulated in terms of relative humidity, in terms of heat control, cold control, and things like that, we can now say this village will be known by its produce. And I'm sticking with red peas because it's storable. Just like other communities have rice.
you know.
Our community.
Here we are talking about the possibility of beavers. We are talking about rodents, as you mentioned. How do
Yes.
we protect these peas from these kind of issues?
Well, it has been well documented that in order to get to food security and to get to clean and safe storage, we're talking about silos, especially when we're talking grain storage. And the silos are so built, Russ, I will have you talk about the structure of the silos to eliminate or eradicate or isolate these things so that they're not getting into
Yes,
the
we need
product.
rodent
By the,
proofing. If we're gonna store in bags, we need them to be off the ground so that moisture from the ground cannot get to them. We need air to be able to pass around them so as to keep them dry. And this air must be at, as you mentioned, humidity in the air. When we talk of
yeah,
humidity, we talk moisture content of
yeah,
the air must be of a
yeah.
specific level. No, so it's something that again our people or farmers or need to consult agencies like NARI because those agencies have the requisite information that we need. So we need to be able to liaise with the professionals at
Yes,
all times. Whatever you do
absolutely.
in agriculture, find a professional body
That's right.
or agency
I
to
say amen
advise.
to that. Absolutely, absolutely. Because we can buy up the stock and lose the stock and then find somebody to blame for the loss
Mhm.
and not ourselves and not apprising ourselves of what we need to know ahead of making the investment
Yeah.
and getting those things in place and then making the investment. So yes, that is very, very important. Understanding our need for storage, having adequate storage. As a matter of fact, I was thinking of how our Chinese brothers and sisters move when somehow we're not seeming to learn or lean in. We're not leaning in to what we are seeing. And by leaning in, I mean get an inside track on how the people are thinking. They buy together. There's a
Yes.
storage somewhere. They can't all take it in their shops. It is brought in and stored somewhere.
You know, a study of the village movement should be very important for our people,
All right.
because what you're talking, the village movement was all about cooperativism. And we have lost that character, that cooperative character. And we need to
Mhm.
revert back there by studying our
But what have
foreparents, by
we what have
studying
we
our history.
replaced it with?
Pardon?
Poverty, lack.
Poverty,
Yeah. So it was not worth
mental
giving up.
poverty.
Exactly.
Sister
It was not
Bernice,
worth giving up.
I don't think we need to keep the people too long. Let's see if we can wrap up in another 15 or so minutes. It's a quarter to three. We started at 1:30, you know. So do you have
That was
anything you
pleasant.
would like to focus on before we close in the last 15 minutes? Any area?
Well, the one that I'm really concerned about is our lack of wealth and our lack of vision for garnering that wealth, for generating that wealth. And there is nothing like as lucrative and as swiftly moving in terms of value acquisition as land. There's nothing moving faster than land when it comes to having those building blocks for wealth creation, having land in the family. And I'm not talking now about daddy alone having 200 acres, but each child, daddy was able to secure land for each child because land is that building block by which wealth is acquired. It matters to me. And I want to see more African people owning land for its very self and then finding a pathway to using that land by forming co-ops where we have, for instance, an equipment pool. So we're not chopping down, but and at the same time we're not scraping all of the forest floor off the ground and things like that. We need a new vision. Get the land, understand how to clear it, care it, develop it in ways that are sometimes old-fashioned, sometimes innovative, but ensure that we don't move off what we need. We will need the nutrition down the road. Keep it. So clear the land in such a way that we can store the nutrition.
You're talking sustainability, basically.
Precisely. Yes.
Make it sustainable so that it will be there for the future generation.
Exactly. Absolutely.
You know.
So no child is too young to own land in the African community, given the state of our financial well-being. No child. And every parent should be getting land for the baby.
No, the thing is, we are regressed into a situation when we talk of land, we are talking house lots only. And
yes.
What you've been saying, what I got from you is that we are talking hundreds of acres, thousands of acres, because that is what
hundreds of acres.
They're monetizing these acreages to do other things into other areas, like the guys who bought 2 trucks. I never would have thought of that.
And buy build apartment buildings.
Build apartment buildings.
Yes, the land leverages anything you want. Education. Take it to the bank. You're going to study engineering or you're going to study agriculture. You have the leverage. You have that which you need to secure what you need.
Yeah.
So it's a store of value that you can also use as currency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very important that we view land from that perspective. It's not just a place to live,
and
maybe
labor,
to produce some food, but it is the source from which we can generate income to invest in other areas.
Yeah.
Right? We can use it as collateral. And that's
the word. That's the word.
The collateral value.
Yes. And that's a passport to engaging liberation in any commercial venture. Because we have the collateral.
Now I understand why some people are so desperate to deprive Africans of their lands.
Yes.
Somebody is now joining us on the Zoom. Somebody now wants to join the Zoom. I mean,
well, you should go back to
better
recording.
Late than never.
Oh, yes, yes.
Wing Tech, I'm not sure who it is, but you can show your face if you wish or not. But welcome. We are just about closing. We've been on for over 1 hour, 20 minutes. And it is good that at least now someone is joining. But the thing to do in future, we are looking to see if people can join the Facebook or the Zoom or the YouTube. I've not opened the YouTube channel today. It's only on the Facebook because we had some initial problems at the beginning again. But I'm learning the technology.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I myself.
I hope to get my computer with a video soon back in so we can use, because right now I'm using my phone instead of the computer. So you see me appearing twice on the program. Anyhow, my dear sister, I think you have done justice to the topic, building blocks to wealth creation. And I do hope that we can get some response from those who would be viewing the program, and maybe someday you will come back and further enlighten us. Thank you very much,
Yes,
Sister Bernice.
or it has been a pleasure, and I thank you for having invited me.
And with that, I'll go back to your fellow Plaisance person, Brother Eddie Grant, to close us off.